Hey guys, this is Christine again, and I'm here with a more in-depth look of the red flags I spoke to you guys about in an earlier video. And I find that a lot of people, you kind of list off the red flags, but somehow when you don't go in depth with really the actual behaviors to look for, it's very difficult to really kind of pinpoint those. So I want to go in depth today with just one specific red flag, and this one is a red flag of disrespect. I find a lot of people also, it might be much more difficult to tell disrespect at the outset because they might just, like joke and laugh it off and think it's just funny, or, maybe it's not something serious at the time. But I want to tell you that these things can get worse as the relationship progresses if you don't notice them and decide whether or not this is something that you can put up with. So the first thing I want to say, a disclaimer, is that, guys, one incident is not enough to say that this is something that that person will always do. This has to be something that's done on a consistent basis over and over again, and or regularly enough to annoy the hell out of you. All right, so if you're not okay with that, then you know that's a red flag, and that is something that you cannot put up with. So the first thing I want to mention is this habit that some men, I notice that mostly men have, and it may be a cultural thing, but whether it's a cultural thing or not, it's disrespectful. At least for me, I wouldn't put up with it. So this is a thing. I can't whistle, but they might want to call their spouse or their partner, and they go hoot hoot, and they're beckoning like from afar, like one big long distance, right? They're beckoning, and they whistle like they're calling a dog, and at least that's my perspective. Maybe people in that culture might think it's okay, but for me, if somebody did that to me, that would be a definite no. So you have to decide what you can put up with. But I find that somebody whistling to you, why don't they just come over to you and say, yeah, let me show you something? But they whistle to you. Somebody actually did that to me once. They didn't whistle, or maybe he did, but all I know was that he stood from a distance. We were in Home Depot. He stood from a distance and kind of like, and I go, is there a dog around here somewhere? Is that, like, I'm looking around to see if there's a dog that he's motioning to. So I look around, didn't see any dogs. So I just turned in the opposite direction because he could not have been speaking to me. So I just turned in the opposite direction and disappeared. And, later on he wondered, what happened? Did you see me calling you? I said, you could not have been calling me with that whistling thing. If you want me, you come and ask me to come somewhere. So that for me is a red flag. So, but this happened much later in the relationship, so you cannot tell. But the good thing is that when it happens, the thing that you have to do is that when it actually happens, even if it's later in your relationship, you have to put your boundaries up and say, no, this is not okay with me, right? Because if you consistently accept that kind of behavior, then that is what the norm is going to be for you. The next thing is someone who consistently makes you the butt of their jokes. So they'll be talking to their friends about you, and saying something derogatory about you, and then when you tell them you don't like it, they will tell you that to make you feel bad, as if it's your problem, not theirs, is to say, they may say something like, you have to get used to my sense of humor. That to me is not funny. So that sense of humor is not something I'm going to put up with, or you don't have any sense of humor, so that they make you feel as if you're stuffy and you're whatever it might be, because they make a joke that you feel uncomfortable with, and it's about you. And if this consistently happens, guys, that's a red flag. So you avoid, as I said, this is going to be personal to every individual is going to have a personal boundary that they can put up with. But to me, that is disrespectful. So especially when you tell the person that this is not something that you appreciate, you don't like what they did, and they keep doing it over and over again, then that is a red flag, right? Remember, it's consistency in these behaviors that I'm concerned about. The next thing is If they're telling you consistently what to wear, or like, I don't like that, and they'll say it in front of people, or even if they don't, but they'll consistently criticize you or your attire or your laugh or whatever it is, anything that they consistently criticize about you. That's disrespectful. If they didn't like you, why are they dating you, right? So I would also, that is a red flag for me, if they're consistently criticizing something about me. Oh, your thing is with that, you're wanting to what, whatever. Because what that does, guys, over time, it makes you feel less than. It diminishes your value, and then you're wondering, maybe I'm not good enough. You are good enough for the right person. Okay? So don't drop your standards because you feel like you want to have somebody in your life. It's not that seriously, because you're better off being miserable by yourself than being miserable with somebody else. Okay, the next thing is if they call you very late at nights. There's a whole entire 24 hours in the day, and at least 8-10 waking hours. That is good time to call you, a respectful time that they could call you. They could call you for lunch at lunchtime. They could call you a little after work. But to me, my cutoff time is after 9. Don't call me after 9. Because if you're going to want to speak to me for any length of time, then you're kind of cutting into my bedtime. So therefore, don't call me after 9. So if you have a cutoff time, but I would say a respectful hour for somebody to call you who's just starting to date you, and I'm just saying this is just starting to date you now. Now, when you're now a couple, that's different. They can call you after 9 because you might want to talk, and just before you fall asleep or whatever it is. That's fine. That's different. But when you're just starting to date someone, if they start calling, if all they do every time is consistently call you after 9 o'clock, and that's the only time they can talk to you, and then they hurry up quickly, and everything is also always about your body or sex or something, red flag. All right, guys? The next thing is that they only want to visit you at nights. There's a whole evening, and they'll call you at the last minute to, I'm going to come over, or why don't you come over? What? No, red flag. Booty call. Okay, guys? Booty call. That's what that is. Okay? You don't want to get caught up in these scenarios because it's going to continue. The next thing is making plans last minute. I have a couple days. I mean, I really don't accept invitation after Wednesdays for a weekend date. Don't call me Friday night when you've exhausted all of your other options, because that's what it is. They've exhausted all of their other options, or Thursday night for Friday evening, a day before. And if it's a big thing, even a day before, when they see you the last time is when they should say, what are we going to do next time, next weekend or whatever it is, because then you will realize that you are the person that they are planning for. They're not having like a whole set of backup people that they're calling, and then you're down on the roster somewhere, and so when they're finished calling all those people and they're not available, then they call you the night of or the morning of the date or whatever it is. Don't get yourself caught up into that. That is a red flag. These people are not interested in you. And I'm speaking about this but usually because it's a male who is a pursuer, or should be the pursuer, they are the ones to make the dates, right? So I would say that this is more on the male. And guys, please stop chasing men. First of all, stop chasing men, because how the heck are you going to know if they actually like you, or you're just there because you're available and it's easy and whatever it is. You need to stop chasing men and let them do the work of chasing you. Men are people who it's in their DNA to be the one to chase the woman. Okay, so when you make it too easy, you're going to be stuck into some rut right there. So don't do that. Okay, the next thing is if they're making later on in the, when you've gotten a few dates under your belt, and then they're making dates, but they're just making dates, especially if they know of your preferences by then, and they're making dates without consulting you, that's kind of no-no, unless it's a surprise and they want it, you know, like they're doing it in the thing of a surprise, and then they're saying, you know, I want to surprise you with something. And then if you're somebody who don't like surprises, because not everyone likes surprises, so you could tell them that you don't like surprises, but the gist of what I want to say or to get across to you is that if somebody, when you're in a committed relationship, start to make plans without you, that's not right, because that's going to continue in your, if you continue in that relationship, they're going to continue disrespecting you by just making decisions and plans without you. Okay, so these are some of the things that you should look for that most people tend to kind of just gloss by as if it doesn't matter or whatever it is. But people at the outset of their dates, guys, they usually put on, we go out like we're like we're doing this, we're putting out our best, you know, we're nice, we're sweet, we're talking, and we're dressing nice and all that sort of stuff. So when you see these things at the beginning of your relationship or beginning of dating, the dating process, then you should be very careful of continuing that relationship. But then again, I say this is just a warning for all you guys, and at least the information I'm giving you, the information, you can heed the information or you can not heed the information and get stuck in something that you're not going to be happy with. Okay guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor and leverage for change, and please like this video and share it with a friend if you find some value in it, and also please subscribe to my channel so that you can get all the notifications as soon as I post new videos. And guys, if you want to work with me one-on-one, please there's a link below that will send you to my webpage, and also I'm now taking email consultations, so you can send an email. You can go on my site. There's a link in the packages link for email consultation, and you get 4 consultations, 4 email responses, 4 questions every month, and it's a monthly it's a monthly fee that you pay every month, and you can always just reach out to me and I'll respond to you via email. All right guys, so I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen, and I hope you got some value from this video. Have a great day. Take care.